Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Insights of a Headhunter. And today we have a special guest with us. We have Gus Bhandal with us from the UK. Hi, Gus.
Hi, Tina. How are you?
I'm really, really well. I'm so glad that you could join me today. And we will be talking about, according to me, the most important topic when it comes to LinkedIn. But shortly about that. So, for people who don't know Gus, he's a social media manager, trainer, coach, and strategist. So, he knows everything about digital marketing, and he's the UK's number one LinkedIn trainer, according to his mom.
She says
And
that, yes.
for people who don't know you, um, present yourself.
Yeah, thank you so much. No, as you say, I'm a social media manager. I'm a marketer of many years. I've been marketing since the late 90s. And now, so I started my own digital marketing agency in 2017. And since then, I've been helping businesses with everything related to social media, to marketing, to digital marketing, etc. And yeah, more recently, I kind of focus on the nucleus of LinkedIn. So it's LinkedIn and then everything else that goes around that, such as other social media, blog writing, email marketing, web copy, etc., etc. But LinkedIn is the nucleus. That's where we start, and then everything else goes out from there.
Yeah. And we met in person earlier this year at the UpLift Live conference, and you were one of the organizers.
Yes, yeah, and thank you so much for speaking there as well. We wanted the 8 best speakers that we knew when it came to LinkedIn. So obviously, when it comes to career and recruitment and skills and knowledge and all that kind of stuff to help people get work, make the most of LinkedIn, you were the top of the list basically. So and it was great to meet you. So thank you for coming over to Uplift Live. We loved it, and we're going to do it all again next year as well.
Yes, and I will be there next year as well. It was
Excellent.
an amazing experience. So thank you and Jeremy and John Lespirian for putting it together and organizing it. It was really fantastic.
Thank you
So
so much.
the topic of today, that I think it's, if you get this part right on LinkedIn, then the rest is easy peasy. So it's about optimizing the skills on LinkedIn, and we approach it from different angles. But I thought the way you explain skills is so interesting. So why are they important, and why should people care about the skills?
You know, particularly in recent times, I think the thing with skills is it's because LinkedIn is now Googleable, so it never used to be. So whenever you Google particular terms and particular kind of phrases, etc., LinkedIn never really used to show in the results, and nowadays it does. I mean, particularly when it comes to um, profiles and articles and newsletters and and stuff like that. So one of the things is about optimizing your skills to say the right thing. So when people search for particular terms, whether it be on LinkedIn or Google or anywhere else, then obviously your profile should appear. And I think so many people miss the trick. So many people kind of are too busy either trying to optimize their headline or writing their about section. And what most people do is they talk about themselves. I have this experience, I have this knowledge, etc. And that's great. But actually, the people who are looking for us are searching for different words. They're searching for particular skills that we can help them with, as opposed to what we do. And it's not always the same thing. So, yeah, I think skills are super important to be found on LinkedIn.
Yeah, and I also see it with when I work as a headhunter. So I use the LinkedIn recruiter tool,
Mm.
and the skills. It's really something that we match the skills of a profile together with the job description, and it's really the people who have filled in the right skills who appear on the first page of the search page. So if you want to be visible and found, that's where you have to start. So how would people know which are the right skills to put on their profile?
Well, it's a difficult one. So I wrote a post recently about the skills in terms of there are a number of places where you can add a list of skills. So, for example, in your about section and in your experience section, but the skills that sit at the bottom of your profile, so the first two are visible, but you can add up to, well, now you can add up to 100.
Yeah,
I imagine not many people have 100 skills, but you could add up to 100. In that place, it's the first two that are visible, and they're the first two that people see. And actually, there in that particular section, that's where you can customize the skills to change it to whatever you want. So the skills in the about section and the skills in the experience section, that's from a drop down menu. And also, oh, actually, I should also say in the providing services section, it's just a drop down menu. There's only a certain number of
yeah.
skills you can use. Whereas actually the skills at the bottom of your profile, they are customizable. Anyway, you could change them. So on my profile, and I make a joke about this, but on
Yes.
my profile, one of my skills is being ridiculously hilarious, and people have endorsed me for that. More people have endorsed me for that than for LinkedIn training. So I need to have a look at that. But it's one of those things. I don't necessarily think I'm ridiculously hilarious, but the reason I changed that was because
I think you are. So, and
oh,
I endorsed. Yeah.
thank you so much. Yeah, no, and I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you so much. And it's basically when something is customizable,
Yeah.
you can essentially add terms that other people are searching for, because actually the drop down menu is quite limited. The standard list of
Yeah.
skills is quite limited in all the other places. So I think sometimes it's about creating skills that other people are looking for. I mean, within reason. It can't be too jovial. I mean, obviously I wrote ridiculously hilarious. Nobody's searching for that on LinkedIn, but I could change it to, for example, something like LinkedIn trainer or LinkedIn training or something like that. And they're not always terms that you can find in the drop down menu.
And you can also endorse those skills.
Yeah. So and obviously the idea is that you want to encourage people to say things about you. So one of the other things when it comes to skills is that, so when I ask people for testimonials and recommendations on my profile, I normally send them a message and be very directive in that message. As in, I'll say, we worked together on this project. I delivered this, you achieved this. Would you like to write me a testimonial? And what that does is that's kind of like subliminal messaging. So people kind of read that and think, actually, I'm going to repeat what Gus just said and write a testimonial about it. And the same applies to in the endorsements. If there are particular things that people know that you've helped them with, it's very easy for others to go and just click on, like LinkedIn training, LinkedIn trainer, or social media expert, or whatever it may be. It's very easy to get other people to endorse you for those skills. Obviously, people that you've worked with and people that you know, as opposed to just, random people who don't know who you are.
And it also shows up on LinkedIn Recruiter how many years of experience you have of that specific skill. So, for example, if I'm looking for sales directors dealing with like IT solution sales, I can see if they have filled in on their profile, which most people haven't. If they have put in solution sales, then I can see in which organization, in which position they have had that skill. So it's really important to fill in the skills also in the experience section.
That's really interesting, actually, because I didn't know that. Well, I come at it from and this is where, like you said earlier, it's kind of it's the same thing, but we come at it from different angles. So obviously, my angle is all about being found. If there's particular things that you do that can help others, you obviously, when they search for particular terms, they want to find you. Like more recently, I've been searching for like particular aspects of people's jobs. Like, for example, I'm looking for a VA that knows how to do HubSpot, or can look after circle networks, or can look after kind of memberships, etc. So when you type in memberships or HubSpot or that kind of stuff, you can add that kind of stuff to your skills as well. So from a being found perspective, is great to have skills, but actually it's good to know that from a recruiter perspective, you can also see, how long people have had skills, where, in what positions, etc. Because sometimes those skills could be, years old, kind of thing. So it's always worth updating those skills to make sure that people know what you do today and not what you did kind of 20 years ago.
Yeah. So, like you said, nowadays we can have 100 skills, but there is a way how to get even more skills. If you think 100 is too little, you can upload a CV on your LinkedIn profile, and there the skills are taken from extracted from there as well. So you can even go beyond the 100 if you
Hmm.
think that's necessary.
Yeah, I mean, I think 100 skills is quite a lot. I think that would kind of suggest that, you're a jack of all trades and a master of none. But so I guess if the skills are quite, relative, and if they're kind of close together, then yeah, I think sometimes, again, it depends on what people are searching for. So obviously my skills would be LinkedIn trainer, LinkedIn expert, LinkedIn manager, LinkedIn training, etc. So sometimes it's just the nuances of words. So I think it's quite easy to get to 100 if you're kind of using different terms that other people would be searching for. But it's interesting about the CV, about uploading that as well. So yeah, I might try that.
Yeah, and also you can use synonyms. Like in
Hmm,
some companies, we call the procurement or purchasing department for buying department. And if you
hmm,
have the wrong word or just the synonym, you will not be found. And depending on the word that is used in that specific company that I'm working with in their job description, LinkedIn algorithm will be matching those words. So you
hmm.
really want to make sure that you use all the different words that come up.
Yeah, absolutely. And when, for example, when people create their website, so when they have web copy, or when they write, and so in your about section, it's unlikely that you would say, I work for a buying department and we do procurement and purchasing. It's very rare that you would use all those words. So because it just sounds silly, really. But and then, you would use the words that you would use, but then, like you say, in the skill section, in the experience section, etc., you would use different words where, like you say, synonyms of particular words, where people can, essentially, where people can find you. So I think that's, when it comes to what other people are searching for on LinkedIn, it's very rare to find that. You can go to Google and use kind of, was it Google keyword research and all that kind of stuff to find what people are looking for online, but that doesn't necessarily relate to what's being looked for on LinkedIn. But it would give you a good idea. So yeah, I think it's good to use synonyms in your skill section and places like that.
And there are 5 top skills that you can have on your profile as well, where you really need to choose the correct ones, because that's a visual one that comes up directly when people get to your profile.
Hmm. Yeah, and particularly in terms of, so when people land on your profile, because obviously, like I said, there's the content that you write, the headline that you write, your about section, your experience section, and all that. And particularly when it comes to the top 5 skills, they should, like up until recently with creator mode, you could add 5 hashtags as well under your headline. So they would be very clear in terms of, I do this, and here's the hashtags that relate to my business. Obviously, they don't exist anymore. So actually, it's about, um, it's human nature to have short attention spans. We want to know exactly what we want to know quickly. We want to land on your profile. We want to read the first part of your headline, and then we think, yes, we need this person. Then we look at the about section and think, yes, we need this person. And then we can pick out the skills, like if there are particular skills like recruitment, career, job help, CV writing, whatever it may be. There's those skills that we want to see in others, which would lead us to quickly choose that person, as opposed to going through, hundreds of profiles, kind of thing. So you would just pick the, one profile, quickly look at the skills, pick the top 5, and think, yeah, this is the person for me.
Yeah, and often when it comes to recruitment, or looking for the right person, even if it's doing business, it's the combination of the skills. So
Hmm.
it's the combination of the location often as well, and the different companies, the industry where the person is working. So it's not only about the skills, but the other options, I think people fill in quite well anyways, but the
Hmm.
skills is what I see lacking mostly.
Yeah, when I do LinkedIn training, I do kind of, it's like a 4-stage strategy. So step 1 is profile optimization. Step 2 is finding ideal clients. Step 3 is creating great content, and then step 4 is kind of outbound, like engagement strategies. You could add a fifth element about doing like data analysis and things like that. But step 1 in terms of profile optimization is the most important. So this is where we talk about, so I talk about having keywords, and
Hmm.
particularly keywords related to skills all over your profile. So particularly in the content that you create, your headline, your about section, the hashtags that you use, your skill section, and obviously in the testimonials that you receive, kind of being very directive and using, if you tell others to use keywords in your testimonials, then that's another place where kind of obviously they show up. And I think, yeah, there are lots of moving elements to a LinkedIn profile where we need to make sure that each element does the right thing. Up until, I don't know, was it up until a couple of years ago, if you fill out every section on LinkedIn, you become a LinkedIn all-star. And it used to be very
Yes.
clear. It used to say, you are an all-star. And I thought, yeah, this is great. I'm an all-star. And when I looked into it, it's like, it just means I filled out every section. So that's the thing. I think, they still have something like that in the background. So the important thing is making sure that every section is filled in, but every section somewhere has a keyword in terms of what you do. Your about section, your headline, your experience, your testimonials, your skills, and all that kind of stuff. So it's about how, and obviously in the content that you create as well. I think that's important as well, because content is now found. And if you do even more content in terms of sending out newsletters or writing articles, etc., then there's even more opportunities to be found off LinkedIn, which obviously brings more people, to your profile.
Yeah. And on LinkedIn, there is a tool called LinkedIn Jobs. So there
Mhm.
you can create a CV with the specific job title that you're looking for, and LinkedIn gives you suggestions which are the right keywords, which skills are typically linked to that job title. So
Hmm.
you can do that exercise on LinkedIn, because often we don't know which ones are the right ones for us. We can imagine
Hmm.
them, and but there you can get the suggestions and choose which ones are correct for you. I wouldn't put a skill that I don't have on
Hmm.
LinkedIn just because it sounds great, because you have to prove it during the job interview.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that every now and again, when I get disillusioned with work and I just think, you know what, I'm going to leave all this and just go and get a proper job, and I'm going to stop LinkedIn training and all that kind of stuff. Every now and again, if I have a bad client, then I'll go and look for jobs. And actually, it's very clear that when you are looking for jobs, it does say, you have 6 out of 10 skills, or you have 8 out of 10 skills. And I always look at the two or three skills that I'm missing, and I think, why am I missing them? But actually, I can add them as well, and all that kind of stuff. So particularly if I look for marketing jobs or social media jobs, etc., sometimes it's good just to look at jobs to see the skills that you're missing. And obviously, if they are skills that you do have and you can talk about and you do have experience of, then it's worth adding them to your profile as well, kind of thing. So it's always, yeah, I particularly like looking for jobs just to see what skills I'm missing, for example. Then obviously I get to add those skills to my profile, add more keywords, add more kind of knowledge, etc. But like you say, never add skills that that you don't have, basically. So
And this the same job title when it comes, for example, sales director. In some companies, you just have different keywords, and looking at the keywords that are written in the LinkedIn job descriptions, like
hmm.
choose at least 5 different ones and see which ones are missing from your profile. So
Yeah.
adding those, it really gives you an indication, and then LinkedIn, the algorithm will match you with those jobs if you
Mm.
have a higher score, meaning if you have more of those skills.
Yeah.
So you can't go wrong there.
Absolutely. And, particularly, you just reminded me that, language is universal. If there are particular terms, most people are searching for those terms or similar terms. One of the phrases that I see all the time now, and I only started seeing in the last, like, 3 months or so, is the word fractional CMO or fractional CEO or things like that. People who only work kind of, so they work on a freelance basis or as a kind of a non-executive director and all that kind of stuff. I don't think many people search for the word fractional. So,
No.
some people would put that in their CVs or put that on their profile, etc. But actually, if that's the kind of jobs that you're looking for, it's unlikely that the people hiring for those jobs are actually using the words fractional. People will just use normal language like part-time or freelance, kind of thing. Yeah, I just,
Yeah.
yeah,
it, it's the first time I hear it, and I work daily with recruitment, so
hmm,
it's news to me. So I think, especially if you have worked in a company for a long time and you use internal jargon,
hmm,
um, then it's really important to update your profile with keywords that come also from other organizations, like uh,
hmm.
yeah, so that you have transferable skills as well,
Yeah.
and synonyms.
Of course, and this is again, this is where a job search comes really in handy. Whether you're looking for a job or not, it's actually worth looking for jobs in your sector and in your kind of particular job titles, because when you read the descriptions, most of the descriptions are the same, so they will use words that are industry standard kind of thing. So if you're using words that aren't industry standard and only specific to either a particular job that you had or just something that you've made up in most people's cases, um, then you're not going to be found. It's or you're going to be lower down in the search results, etc. So I think sometimes, like, obviously it's all very well me writing a skill like ridiculously hilarious, but nobody's looking for that skill. But they would be looking for example, marketing manager or social media specialist or LinkedIn expert or whatever it may be. So sometimes it's about using terms that others are searching for, as opposed to what you think you do for a living. Sometimes they can be two very different things.
And like my job, I working as a headhunter, I'm looking for people who are not looking for jobs, not actively
Hmm,
looking for jobs. So even if you're happy in your current company at the moment, a reorganization can knock on your door sooner than you think. And even if your own results are really good,
hmm,
people get are made redundant. So
hmm.
it's really important to start putting in the skills when you don't need them.
Yeah,
um,
absolutely. I think that there's an opportunity behind every door, and I think often you have to you may not be looking for those opportunities, but actually the whole point of people being on LinkedIn ultimately is to make money, right? And it's all very well, obviously making friends and building relationships and all that kind of stuff, but there's a lot of things that we wouldn't do on LinkedIn if we weren't, look quite frankly, looking to either grow our business or looking for a new job or looking for a new career, etc. And I think the thing is, because LinkedIn is the world's number one business professional platform, your profile should be saying everything it needs to say, because you never know where those next opportunities are going to come from, whether you are looking or not. I think that's the thing. It's always, I would always be open to listening to somebody who says, hey, I can give you an opportunity where you have to do very little work and I'll give you lots of money. That would be great. I'm waiting for those opportunities. But seriously, it's about making sure that your profile says all the right things for the right people.
yeah, and like I get the most mysterious searches, like looking for somebody who is in the past, who was originally from Uruguay. It's like one of the smallest countries in Latin America,
Mm,
uh, who is working in the US and
mm,
in I think in production industry. So somebody who would be relocating back to their home country. So you you might be living your best life, and suddenly you get a phone call from Belgium for a
Mm,
job like that. So you never
mm.
know which are your superpowers that companies are looking for and offering you an opportunity of a lifetime
Yeah.
if you just put in the right keywords.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of my profile is, because I'm based in the UK, I talk a lot about, my clients here, and I talk about a lot of the services that I do and all that kind of stuff. Every now and again, I'll write a post about Las Vegas, because obviously if somebody wants me to go to Las Vegas to do some work, I'm more than happy to do that kind of thing. So, but again, it's that, you know you never know where those opportunities are going to come from, and I think that's where our content, our profile, like the perfect profile optimization is to make sure that our profile says exactly what it wants, what other people want to read, as opposed to what we do. It's very easy to say this is what I do for a living and this is what I am, but actually it's sometimes it's about what other people get from working with us,
Th-
which is
that's
obviously
the
what our
key.
profile should be focused on. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's like the best summary, and that most people get wrong. And talking about Las Vegas, and I think it's so important that you put it out there in the universe that you want to get to Las Vegas. We have Gillian Whitney joining us.
Fabulous.
Uh,
I
Happy
love
to be
Gillian.
joining
Yeah.
you both from Las Vegas. Easy peasy. Good morning,
Easy
Gillian.
peasy. Absolutely. And Gillian was obviously one of our guest speakers at Uplift Live alongside yourself as well. And yeah, it was the first time I met Gillian. I've known Gillian for a while online, and then I think a few weeks before Uplift Live, we had an online conversation and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I'm always saying to Gillian, if you have any opportunities in Las Vegas, then give me a shout. So yeah, more always happy to visit there. And obviously, I get to see Gillian as well, so that would be a massive bonus.
Yes, and the intro that you made before her speech, she was just she got so energized, and the audience and everyone was clapping. So she entered the stage waving like the queen. So
Yeah.
it
Oh,
was
super. Yeah, absolutely.
it was really well prepared intro. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
Thank you.
And
Yeah,
we
yeah. I loved introducing everybody on stage. Actually, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was really important. Oh, Mohammed, thank you so much. Yeah, hi. Good to see you. Um,
thanks for
yeah,
joining us.
yeah, thanks for joining us. It's again, it's one of those things. Again, we on LinkedIn we build these communities. It's obviously yourself, Gillian, and etc., and lots of people that we meet, and we meet online. So when we meet in person, then it's like, oh, we know this person. The same comes from. I mean, if we take this back to obviously skills and the right words in our profiles and all that kind of stuff, people get to know us before they meet us, and that's the beauty of LinkedIn. So obviously, if it says the right things, and we talk about this is who we are, and this is what we do, and this is what we achieve for you, and this is, if you work with us, we can do X, Y, Z. What that does is that creates a persona before we meet those people. So when we do meet those people, then it's like, oh, you're exactly the same online, and isn't this great? And I think that applies to building relationships, getting clients, uh, finding
Trust.
employers,
Yeah.
recruiters. It's all about that trust. It's basically when you say all the right things and you're very authentic online. When you meet people, then it's just that trust transfer just continues in real life. So yeah, I think that's really important.
Yeah. And my neighbor Sono, she says actually
Yeah.
fractional has been gaining traction for the last few years. I'm hearing more and more. I'm not sure it's 100% like freelance, but good point, not nonetheless.
Yeah, no, Sonal. Yeah, I absolutely agree. I mean, I was using like freelance is probably a terrible
Yeah,
example. You're probably right, but I think you know, fractional is picking up a lot of traction. It's people are using that phrase more and more. I just think that although I understand what it means, I just don't think that other people are searching for those terms, if that makes sense.
exactly.
But yeah, but at the same time, if I said I'm a freelance social media manager, there's a lot of stigma around the word freelance. It makes people sound like they're a small business, or they're just a sole trader, or they don't charge too much and all that kind of stuff. So there's, yeah, and again, I think this is an important conversation in terms of we have to pick the right audience and the right skills, and sometimes it's the language that others would use as opposed to what we would use. I probably wouldn't use the word fractional, but at the same time, I probably wouldn't use the word freelance either. So there has to be some sort of happy medium. So yeah, no, that was a great point, Sonal. Thank you.
Yeah. And Linda is saying fractional seems to be the new way of talking about part-time for a professional or managerial role. Yeah. So it's
Yeah,
really
but
about finding the words that actually people are looking for, not the words we think
hmm.
we need to have on our profile. And Nathalie is saying, great point, Tina, about skills endorsement. Best to have those sorted once you are still in a job and happy instead of last minute change because you are being let go. Yes. And
Ye-
most people do the opposite. So
yeah.
be an exception.
Yeah, I worked with a really large organization here in the UK recently where a lot of their senior management team have been made redundant. They basically said, right, you've got 3 months, you have to leave and go
Yeah.
look for jobs. Now, it's weird because they had two levels of management where they had one level of management was really active on LinkedIn and they kind of built their personal brands and they always used to
Yeah.
talk about their work and they'd always journal their week, etc. And then you have another part of the management team that just they were just comfortable in their job. They didn't use LinkedIn, they didn't focus on it, etc. And obviously when they come to me and say, right, we need to be trained, we need to get another job, we need to fill out our profiles, I kind of part of me was saying, well, actually, it's too late because actually you've only got 3 months. This is about building relationships. This is about building trust, and
It
that's what
takes
LinkedIn is
time.
about. So it takes time, absolutely. So I think that's yeah. So Natalie, good point, and obviously Tina, yeah, it's very much about let's let's do things now because you never know where those either those opportunities or those threats are going to come in the future.
Yeah. And Sue says it's not a term that she has come across in her field either. So yeah,
Yeah,
and so
yeah, I presume. And I'm seeing, if you go to LinkedIn and you in the search box, if you search for the term fractional CMO, so Chief Marketing Officer, there are millions. There are, well, maybe not millions, there's a slight exaggeration, but there's a lot. And there's and again, it's not a term that people use as such. Like they're using it to talk about themselves. But if I was an employer where I was looking for somebody to work part time or like a non-exec director to, spend a couple of days a week in my team, etc., I don't think I'd use the word fractional. So there's just skills and language and profile optimization are it's all about the audience as opposed to what we want to tell people, if that makes sense.
yeah,
So
that's
yeah, and
that's what
as
sorry.
Sonal said there, yeah, it's about knowing your audience. It's about exactly, yeah, that's the thing. If it's somewhere where it's used a lot, then yeah, absolutely. I think it's being picked up more and more here in the UK in terms of that phrase.
It's also about fashion. Like some words come and go, and some words sound so 90s, also
Yeah,
in human resources, human capital, all those things. So you have to be
mm,
mindful that you don't want to sound older than you actually are.
absolutely. And on that note, my favorite new job title is prompt engineer. So basically, companies looking for people who can essentially optimize prompts in AI.
AI, yeah.
So there's jobs where people are looking for prompt engineers, and they call them prompt engineers. It's basically just somebody who knows how to write. It's like, it's just a fancy term for copywriter. Surely, it's just. And again,
Nothing to do
think
with engineering. So
yeah,
it's not a engineering degree from the
yeah,
university.
exactly. So yeah, it's all about knowing your audience. That's the thing.
All right. So I see our time has gone so fast. Um, where could people find you? What is the best way to connect with you?
So depending on where you're looking, so if you look, so at the bottom of my name there, it's at mguru UK. If you just go to Google and just type in mguru UK, like I'm on the first 10 pages of Google. But generally, if you search for Gus Bhandal on LinkedIn, that's where I do my best work. That's where I tell my best jokes. So yeah, come and connect with me. Don't follow me. Click the three dots and connect with me. Yeah, I love two-way conversations on LinkedIn. So yeah, come and find me.
All right. Thank you so much for this conversation. And we will see each other next year on Uplift Live.
Absolutely. Yeah. And thank you. No, thank you so much for having me today. It's been really interesting.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and see you on LinkedIn. Bye.
See you there. Bye.